Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to this exchange webinar. The title of this exchange is Going the Extra Mile, Sustainable Community Engagement. It will last approximately 30 minutes and then we will allow time for any questions that you may have at the end. Thank you for registering, and also thank you to David Hollis from the Montfort University and Square Mile Project. My name is Emma and I'm the Member Events and Communities Officer here at the EAUC. As you know, the EAUC deliver the Sustainability Exchange funded by HEFCE and led by Staffordshire University. So what are exchanges? Exchanges are free lunchtime webinars on a range of sustainability topics. Anyone can present them. Just get in touch with us at Sustainability Exchange at eauc.org.uk or myself. Just a little bit of housekeeping now. I'm hoping that everybody can hear me okay. I have muted you all just to avoid background noise so that you can hear as clearly as possible. If you have any issues hearing at any point during this exchange, could you please use the chat box and send a message to me directly saying so. Hopefully most of you have working microphones. Don't worry if you don't, as you will still have the chance to ask any questions at the end by typing them to me in the chat box and I will read them aloud. The webinar is being recorded so you can view it again or share it with colleagues. It will be made available on the Sustainability Exchange with the presentation and any other resources a few hours after the exchange has ended. You will be sent a short survey to gain your feedback afterwards. Please take the time to complete this. Okay, that's all from me. Thanks, and over to you, David Hollis.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you ever so much for coming along to this presentation today. My name is David Hollis, and I'm the Operations Manager for Montfort University's Square Mile programme. I'm joined today by Dr. Ketan Ruparelia, and one of the project leads, and also one of the student interns, Amir Hussain, to give you a bit of a different perspective of what working on the project's like. Square Mile, we've started roughly about July 2011 now. It's been going for about 2 years. And really what I am trying to do as part of the project team of about 3 or 4 people, we're trying to match up projects the community wants using academic expertise and student energy and enthusiasm to work in partnership with the community to make it a better place really for everyone. Obviously, community engagement is not a term that's sort of unique to Square Mile. A lot of different institutions practice it. We started by researching a number of different projects. We actually looked at about 108 in the end before we launched the Square Mile project to see what it is we could actually do, what it is we wanted to achieve. And before I sort of go into the concept behind Square Mile, I wanted to try and give you an idea as to our mindset, our thinking behind the programme and why we're actually running this project. So my first slide is a bit of an analogy. Community engagement, very much like the pick and mix section of Woolworths, as we remember. It's very much all different shapes and sizes, all different ways of doing it, and that's reflected in how many different names there are for it: community engagement, social responsibility, public engagement, community outreach. Very much in the HE sector, the institutions that are participating in this have not really defined one way of doing it. They've very much taken it upon themselves to find a way that not only suits their local community, but suits themselves in terms of their government objectives. So we want to really understand why institutions actually took part in community engagement. And the background sort of behind this, really we saw a lot of institutions commonly delivered their community engagement activities through volunteering sections of student unions, outreach teams, individual faculties or departments. We saw a lot of projects that engaged in applied research, so using research to solve the problems the community face. A great example of that, for reference, is the Community University Partnership Programme in Brighton, CUP short. But really what we we sort of found this underlying trend was that the higher education sector itself was under a lot of pressure from local and national government to do more for communities, and more so now than ever with the rise of the £9,000 tuition fees. Universities are constantly being asked to justify themselves. And really what they're being asked to demonstrate is impact. What the impact they can have on a local community. So in terms of the positive outcomes that we found, very much knowledge exchange and partnership working with local communities. Universities engage in a lot of knowledge exchange partnerships directly with communities, bringing their skills, their teaching, their research outside the campus boundaries for the local community's benefit. Also evidence of how higher education research can be applied at the local level to change people's lives for the better. Also this idea of breaking down sort of the ivory tower, breaking down the boundaries of campus to open up facilities to create direct links with local communities. And finally, very much sort of staff, students and local communities coming together to work in partnership through different projects and initiatives. And in some cases, this has seen universities, staff and students act as service providers in many ways. But with everything positive, there's also somewhat of a negative, the barriers that we sort of found to engagement. Universities often dictated what they wanted to contribute to the community. Now, you could argue that isn't a bad thing. Obviously, universities have governing objectives, they have their own mission and vision. But with that, that wouldn't for us, we were very keen to build a long-lasting relationship with the community, and to be sustainable, we knew very much there had to be a balance. We had to give the university, the governing or the executive board, what they wanted. We also had to very much give the community what they wanted. And there was many universities that we saw that very much focused on their own mission and vision, rather than trying to actually take into account the university what the community wanted. Sorry. And also we saw a lot of instances where it was very much focused on one specific subject area or target audience. Now again, that's not a bad thing if it's coming from one department, but really to have true engagement, you have to engage at a number of different levels. If you are just focusing on old people, you're discounting youth, you're discounting middle age. So it's that sort of mindset that we wanted something that would engage everyone, that would engage every sort of facet of the community. Also, we saw many institutions base their community engagement activities on campus. Again, there are sort of positives to this, but we very much we're conscious that if it's cold, if it's wet, if there's ice on the pavements, and the residents and the community members are trying to struggle to get into campus, even if it's a 10-minute, 5-minute walk, are they really going to engage with us? Are they really going to sort of take part on a regular basis? And finally, we didn't see a lot of sustainable activity. Community engagement was very much determined by income, by finances, and by lack of volunteers, by lack of time, by academics to be able to sort of deliver these projects. We also saw a lot of very much finite projects, quick win projects that were designed to raise an institution's profile, but not so much engage the community on a long-term basis. And very, very important one that we found is the changes in strategy. University community engagement projects very much changed direction when a new vice chancellor, when a new executive came in, or the community project came under another executive member, dean, pro vice chancellor, etc. So taking all of this into account, the positives and the barriers to engagement, we started to come up with the square mile concept, looking at how we could help a specific community of Leicester using a number of targeted projects. So really the programme aims to support sustainable development of the local community. And the following 3 different principles, really taking the community comes to us with an idea, the academic staff then design project concepts around this community need. The students are then will deliver the projects under academic guidance. The emphasis has to be on the student volunteers. We are very much conscious that we want to keep academics, as teachers, as researchers, not as community workers, not as sort of social workers. So it has to be delivered with students so that it not only enhances their employability, but it makes sure that they have that regular engagement and the time to engage with the community. And last but by no means least, the most important part, working in partnership with the community, working in partnership with residents, agencies, schools, to not only create a stronger community links, but to more than anything create a legacy to really break down the barriers that have sort of been between De Montfort and the local community in the past. So in terms of sustainability, something that we've obviously mentioned a lot about and are keen to sort of promote, it's a key aspect of project success. The Square Mile aims to create a long-lasting relationship with the community. So therefore, our projects have to meet a certain set of criteria around this, around sustainability. Projects must be able to be embedded into specific course modules. If an academic was to leave, if an academic has created a project concept and then they leave and there's nobody there to take ownership of it, then a project will fail and then you'll have a negative impact on the community. So it has to be very much embedded within a department, within a faculty. There has to be a faculty ownership, joint ownership. And therefore, as I mentioned, the emphasis must be placed on student volunteers delivering the projects. It goes without saying that projects must respond to an identified resident need. If the community does not want a project, they will not take part in it and the project will fail. The programme must be in line, a wider programme must be in line with the university's mission and vision. Obviously, we are paid employees of the university, so we have to fit in with objectives as and when possible. And financially sustainable, low cost and high impact project was something that we were very much keen to see. But crucially, projects must be able to adapt to be able to grow organically with the community. Obviously, resident needs will change over time, over a period of 5, 10, 15 years. And the projects themselves must be able to adapt with that, must be able to grow, must be able to really be flexible. So a lot of different demands, and you'd think that that would sort of really narrow down what we were doing. But luckily for us, because this is an institution-wide initiative, we do have about 40 projects currently operating. So it's, even though there is quite a tough set of criteria for sustainability, it's something that's not hindered the ideas, the energy, the enthusiasm of academic students and other professional staff taking these ideas out and working with the community. So in terms of the area itself, we looked at a number of areas of Leicester that were in deprivation, areas that really sort of needed our support, institution help in a number of different areas. And this one area in Leicester stood out. It spans 3 political wards, Foss, Newfoundland and Woodgate. And it's home to about 8,000 people. It's about 10 minutes walk away from the campus. It's very, very close to the city centre. The Groby Road 850 Woodgate that's highlighted in the map there, that's actually the main thoroughfare into the city centre. You can almost literally draw a line in the sand where the investment from the city centre has stopped. This area was scheduled to receive multiple millions of pounds before the economic downturn. So it's very much an area that's on the local council's radar in terms of an area that needed some investment, some support. It's a very diverse community with over 50 different spoken languages. Its nature is also very transient, and only 50% of residents expected to stay in this area longer than 5 years. There are a number of different sort of migrants from various parts of Europe and Asia coming into the area every sort of 12 to 18 months. So it's very much in a constant state of flux. So in engaging with this community at a basic level, we conducted a doorstep survey. We took out a number of different international students to help us translate so we could speak to as many different people as possible. We surveyed about 10% of the community, that's 240 homes, about 800 responses that we received on the doorstep there. And we were looking for themes that we could help with. Obviously, some of the more sort of harsher responses we got on the doorstep were, knock the area down, build something else, start again. And obviously these are some of the things that we could not do as an institution. We wanted to see the ways in which we could help try and sort of make the area a better place. And 4 trends kept on reappearing. Obviously there we've got more skills and learning opportunities, and people felt that there wasn't enough services in the area that helped enhance their own skill set, that helped them get into work, that helped enhance their employability. So that's something that we thought that we could potentially help with. Activities for youth in the area was something that came back, and probably out of over 200 of the responses, out of 240, activities for youth was really something that was identified as something that needed to be built upon. And with that, a sort of separate issue too that came on the crime figures of the deprivation indices. A lot of people were attributing and reported ASB to an age range of about ASB, sort of antisocial behaviour, between youth of the age between 17 and 23. So by creating youth activities, we potentially thought we'd see a drop in the crime rate or reported antisocial behaviour for the area. The health services in the area also received not so much positive feedback. People wanted to see more appointments available to them. So we thought that was potentially something we could help with our health faculty and our health specialists. And also, quite sort of bluntly, a greater sense of community spirit. People wanted to see activities that brought them together. We have people in the Square Mile area that have been living here for 40 years, 6 generations. We've also got people who've been living here for 40 minutes, and people felt that they didn't know their neighbours in some cases. They wanted to see activities that really gave them a pride in the area, a sense of belonging. Additionally to this, at the same time, we wanted to create a forum that would allow us to regularly meet with representatives of the community to really provide us with the validation, the justification for running these projects, to really help us shape and guide the projects. We designed this forum with help from Community First. We secured Community First funding of about £33,000 over 3 years for this specific panel of about 20 to 25 people, about 16 different spoken languages, so it's quite a broad cross-section, different backgrounds of community. They would have this pot of funding to do with what they want, separate from council input, separate from Square Mile input, or Montfort University input. They have created their own constitution, they have created their own agenda, so they know themselves what they want to spend that money on. And really, their sort of dual purpose is to not only use that money to benefit the local community, but also to help us really guide the project, shape the projects, and we keep them updated on any new developments. We meet with them on a fortnightly basis, so they are really up to date on any new project developments and any sort of new projects that potentially would need to be run by them before they're approved. So the projects themselves, we wanted to pretty much keep it in terms of marketing and getting community buy-in quickly as to the areas that were highlighted on the doorstep survey. So one criteria is skills, and these projects really look to enhance the skills and employability. And here residents can obtain qualifications in computing, the European Computing Driving Licence, ECDL, English language, ESOL Skills for Life Level 1 and 2, and also different sort of social media classes as well. We run online safety courses for parents and for children as well. And we also, through these projects, from the range of small to medium-sized enterprise support, really keen to stress that the community isn't just the individual that lives in the house, it's very much the agencies that make it up. Also there's the businesses, the charities, the groups and the schools, and everyone sort of makes up that community whole. So we wanted to try and provide projects to help and adapt to their needs. We also have health projects aimed at improving the health and wellbeing of the community, and these include projects such as 3 hearing screenings, diabetes advice and support projects that we'll mention more about a little bit later, and also projects aimed at getting people off regular addiction to cigarettes through mentoring services, and also tackling rising levels of reported obesity in the Square Mile area. Community projects also aimed at looking at sort of promoting a strong community cohesion. These include a resident-led sewing club, multiple gardening initiatives aimed at improving the local environment, and also a community-run cafe. And last but by no means least, youth activities, projects that aim to raise the aspirations of youth, as well as increase the variety of activities available to Square Mile youth. These projects include an accredited dance course where participants can actually achieve 35 UPass points upon completion. Also a number of sort of sports coaching training, and somewhat a little bit more randomly that we've been asked for an electronics and robotics club. So how have we done? We've been running now for 2 years. We believe we've come a long way. Still got a long way to go, but in terms of our achievements in those categories, we've had over 4,000 people have taken part in over 30 Square Mile projects this year alone, and that project number is now increased, going into 40 for this year. with over 170 of these achieving qualifications in the ECBL and ESOL Skills for Life Level 1 and 2 courses. The Youth Activities Project have improved the maths and English scores of over 600 children. 2 schools have been supported out of special measures in the area, and over 300 12 to 17-year-olds have received qualifications in sports coaching, dance and electronics. The Health Project, we've helped over 100 people with their hearing difficulties through the free hearing screening initiative, and a further 400 people in the area have taken part in our diabetes projects, and we found out that we've over roughly at the moment about 5% of the community have been identified as having either type 1 or type 2 diabetes, which really gives us a strong indication and really provides the local health services with some quality data as to sort of now how to best attribute their services, best to sort of focus their services. So the health services really benefited from these health projects. And finally, the community projects, we've been able to help support 2 resident-led social enterprises. We brought hundreds of people in the community together around film festivals, heritage, stand-up comedy, sport and music. So really we want to focus on one project today in particular, the Complementary Alternative Medicines Project. There's a multifaceted level of diabetes projects we run, because it's such a big issue in this area. There's the artificial pancreas that's being pioneered by Dr. Joan Taylor, and there is the project I'm going to hand over to Dr. Ketan Ruparelia to talk to you about now, the Complementary Alternative Medicines Project.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Ruparelia, and I'm leading the Square Mile Diabetes Project looking at complementary and alternative medicines. So who are we? The project has colleagues from the Leicester School of Pharmacy in the Faculty of Health and Life Sciences at the Montfort University. We all come from different varied backgrounds into academia, lecturing, pharmacy practice and drug discovery, which is where I come from, with over 22 years of experience in the laboratory researching into cancer and now moving gradually into diabetes. Our team, of course, would not be complete without the students from the Montfort University as volunteers and also as paid placements. So far, we've had over 40 students who are helping us with our project with success, and of course, in return, this is going to enhance their employability skills, fantastic credentials to their CV. A few of my colleagues, I'd like to name them, and there's Professor Joan Taylor, who's a professor of pharmaceutics. She's a diabetes expert who has developed artificial pancreas at the Montfort University. There's Dr. Aru, who's a reader in natural products research. There's Dr. Peter Rivers, who's a reader in pharmacy practice, who has interactions with the local pharmacies where we are taking students from the courses. There's Dr. Nina Lakhani, who is a senior lecturer in the Leicester School of Pharmacy, with myself, with over, as I said, many years of research into the laboratory. This research also links very well with other research being done in Leicester, with particular focus on South Asian community in Leicester, led by Professor Kamlesh Kunti and Professor Melanie Davis. So what are our aims? What is the aim of this project? First of all, did you know that every 5 minutes someone somewhere in the UK will learn that they have diabetes? Another way of looking at it is 1 in every 7 people will get to find out that they have diabetes if they haven't already done so. So what we are hoping to get out of this project, or to help the community, is to find out, first of all, is there a need? Is there a diabetes problem in the square mile? Finding out how are they managing the diabetes in the square miles. We'd like to find out whether this extent and the use of complementary and alternative medicines, which I will define later in my next slide. Are they being used by diabetic patients in this local area? We're hoping to provide a platform for further research into the use of these therapies that are being used for diabetes by looking at analytical studies to determine the level of purity of active ingredients in these medicines, which seems to have anti-diabetic properties. A long-term goal is to find some new natural products which can be researched into our laboratories, which we hope that will help the National Health Services to provide accessible medicines for diabetics. Just would like to go into the diabetes background. So what is diabetes? It's a lifelong condition, health condition, where the amount of glucose in the blood is too high, and this is because the body cannot use it properly. Why is this? Well, this is because the pancreas, which produces insulin, there is not enough insulin being produced or not produced any at all. And it's insulin that helps the glucose enter the body cells. If you could look at insulin as like a key that unlocks the body cells to let the glucose in, which is then converted into energy. So there are two types of diabetes. There's type 1 diabetes. This is the body just cannot produce insulin, and it accounts for about 10% of the people with diabetes. It usually develops before the age of 40, most commonly during the adolescence years. The second type is type 2. Now this is the most common of the two types. It accounts for 90% of people with the condition. And this occurs when the body is able to make insulin, but not enough. It could also arise when the body does not react to insulin that's produced, hence it becomes insulin-resistant diabetes. So I'd like to go on to the complementary alternative medicines and what is all that about. Well, the National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine, the NCCAM, defines CAM as healthcare and medical properties that are not currently an integral part of conventional medicines. So the word complementary is used when medicines is used with conventional medicine, whereas alternative word is used when medicine is used instead of conventional medicines. We are finding that, and from literature that's being produced, that people are starting to use complementary alternative therapies to look at diabetes and its management. Examples include acupuncture, aromatherapy, homeopathy, Ayurvedic, and massage, and general lifestyle changes. As you can see, I have a picture of Kerala, which is a common vegetable being eaten within the Asian community, and the belief is the goodness in the skin that helps to lower the effects of diabetes, also known as bitter gourd. Aloe vera is another one that's been reported. I'd like to now go in towards Diabetes UK because we are closely linked with Diabetes UK. Myself and a few colleagues of mine have become Diabetes UK community champions. The purpose of that is because the champion would be there to help educate and raise awareness of diabetes and the work that the Diabetes UK is doing as well. And this is usually done by giving talks about diabetes, running a diabetes awareness stand, organizing and participating in healthy living days. In addition, with our work, Diabetes UK are also providing us with literature in multi-languages, which, as David already has mentioned, that Leicester is very multicultural, and also there are a lot of high rates of diabetes. According to, okay, I'll probably go back to that other slide. According to Diabetes UK, there are about 3.8 million who have diabetes in the UK. There are 3 million people living with diabetes, and there are 850,000 people who have type 2 diabetes, but they don't know yet. This is because they haven't been diagnosed. As many as 7 million people are at risk of developing type 2 diabetes, and if this current trend continues, there's an estimate of 5 million people who will develop diabetes by 2025. It is a serious condition, and for which treatments are available, but not always optimal. And if left untreated, can have drastic side effects, can lead to heart disease, stroke, blindness, kidney failures, or even amputation. So the risk of developing type 2 diabetes includes being overweight, having a large waist, having high blood pressure, or having a close relative with diabetes. Risks are also increased with age and is higher for people from Black and Asian or ethnic minority backgrounds. However, up to 80% of the diabetes 2 patients, the effect could be delayed or prevented with healthy lifestyle changes, such as eating a healthy diet, taking regular exercises, and managing weight. So by increasing the awareness of diabetes and getting the right advice, support, and making the right choices to live more healthily, the risk of type 2 diabetes can be reduced. Also, if we can find people who have diabetes early enough that they don't know yet, this can mean that the side effects that I mentioned previously, devastating complications, can be avoided, and hence helping the health services drastically. There are an estimated 3,100 people in Leicester who have undiagnosed type 2 diabetes. So the purpose of Diabetes Community Champions is really to act by organizing talks about diabetes and running a general diabetes awareness stands where people can come to you and you can put them in touch with the right advice centers. So how are we doing this project? How are we getting this information? Well, the project is about engaging with the community within the square mile. It involves carrying out and conducting a surveys with the help of our DMU students, volunteers. And this is done through healthcare professionals, including pharmacists and GPs. We're also working closely with community centers where these questionnaires are also filled by our students. I will now pass you over to Mr. Amir Hussain, who will tell you a bit more about his perspective as a student.
Good afternoon. With regards to the student volunteer aspect, I am one of many volunteers that have been involved with this project. Currently, I am a third-year biomedical science student, and I've been working on this project since March of this year. And because of how heavily I have been involved in this project, I have developed very close links with pharmacy in the Square Mile area. And now, because of all the work I have put in, I have secured a paid placement to work with Dr. Rukuelia on medicinal chemistry research. I came across this project on the Montfort University home website. I saw the Square Mile section and stumbled across this particular project. There are several reasons why I chose this project, and one of them was that it was a great learning opportunity for me as I want to pursue a PhD. I saw this as a great way to enhance my skills in many areas, such as reading and reviewing journal articles, being able to work with many academics and to create great contacts with university and a partner pharmacy in the area. Overall, this was a chance for me to be involved in an actual research project and hence give me vital experience for my possible PhD in the future. Now, volunteering on the Square Mile project has allowed me to greatly enhance my overall skills in terms of confidence, my people skills, and especially my research and analytical skills. As I said before, it has allowed me to work with a great team of pharmacy, a great team at the pharmacy, and also a high-profile team of researchers, academics, and staff, from the likes of David here at Square Mile to Dr. Rukuelia. And because of that, I've made strong links with university and pharmacy. All this put together has meant that my volunteering I have done has greatly improved my employability and chances of securing a PhD in the future. This research is vital for the community as the research speaks for itself because it shows that there is a high number of diabetics in the area. Also, diabetes is a condition that is affecting a large number of people, not just in the UK, but around the world. Its prevalence is also increasing, with the fact that 1 person in every 5 minutes is diagnosed with this condition, as Kevin said earlier. The fact that this square mile area hosts a vast range of diverse groups of people, it has allowed us to create a very strong exchange project in us providing ways for them to help themselves by giving them the opportunity to share their knowledge they have through complementary and alternative medication they might be taking. Along with the fact that me, as a student, I get the opportunity to engage with the people from the community. Ultimately, I firmly believe that by sharing and understanding this knowledge in more detail, this project has the potential to help diabetic sufferers around the world. And I believe that in itself shows how amazing this project really is. I will now hand you back over to Setan to report more about the outcomes of the project.
Thank you, Amir. The outcomes and sustainability of this project. How does this project help the community so far? Well, so far, we've collected over 400 questionnaires on diabetes management within the square mile. And so there is a need for an attention. We need to do something. We built a great rapport with various organizations with the community and the residents, including pharmacists, diabetes healthcare professionals, community centers, museums, libraries, shopping centers, places of worship, including temples, charity organizations such as Age Concern, and also the local gyms. And of course, we have our gym within the university, which we're hoping to use more for the residents who can use it for those who are diabetics. More DMU staffs and students will be incorporated. We would like to bridge this gap between academia, the world of academia, and the local community. And this is for the public good. Of course, the DMU students, their CVs will enhance their employability as well. We'd like to organize events on a regular basis, because I think that's very important. We need to organize something on a regular basis. Clinics on diabetes management. This is what we are finding out from our questionnaires, that people want to know where to go for advice on a regular basis, not just one-off. Because it is quite a complicated condition, and one needs to become an expert at it, and every person is different in understanding the concept. We'd like to organize regular advice sessions from healthcare professionals like GPs, pharmacists, and diabetes healthcare who can give advice on nutrition. And also to enhance the availability of information about complementary medicines, which has anti-diabetic properties, and thus this will empower the square mile community and highlighting the healthcare role of the local community pharmacists. We're also working closely with Diabetes UK, who have the same purpose to raise awareness of Diabetes UK up and down the country. Again, to educate and raise awareness. Sustainability will be fulfilled when we include these education into modules that are health-based modules that are based at the DMU, where the students are then able to go into the community to do some volunteering work. This will also open us to apply for funding from the organizations like Diabetes UK to do some laboratory work on synthetic compounds and also natural compounds from traditional medicines. We have created a website which is coming up in the next slide, Twitter, Pinterest, email addresses, and of course we're all linked under one umbrella of Square Mile at Montfort University. So on a final note, I'd like to stress that it is so important that people are provided with information so that they can be informed, they can make informed choices about how they live their lives. And we hope to come as close to the community as well as our students from the university to help us take this forward. And of course, to change the old habits and living a healthy lifestyle, thereby We're hoping that will reduce their chances of developing diabetes, and also to learn to manage their diabetes once they've been diagnosed. I'll pass you over to David further.
Thank you, Amir and Ketan. So how will we judge ourselves? We've got about 7 key performing indicators, and 3 of those sit on the student side, and how many students are actually participating and volunteering on the projects, how students rate the projects, do they enjoy volunteering in them, would they recommend them to a friend. And we also track the Destination of Leaders survey to see how many of our students are going to work within 1 month, within 6 months of graduating from university, to see if there's a difference, which we believe there is in terms of students who haven't volunteered on Square Mile or have any form of volunteering or work experience compared to those who haven't. There's also the community side. How many community members are actively engaging with our projects? What are they actually doing with the skills? What are they actually doing once they've been on the projects, once they've moved on from the projects? And also, what do they think of the projects? The feedback from the community is probably the most important thing. We want to really design and improve projects around their feedback. But externally as well, we have to look at the reasons that we chose this area in the first place was down to its high ranking on Leicester's deprivation indices. For those who aren't familiar, these are used by local and national governments to determine areas that need the most support. So Square Mile was again selected due to its high ranking on Leicester's deprivation index. There are 8 indices currently. The one that we are not focusing on are services provided to an area. That's specifically for local and national governments. The 7 indices that we are focusing on include employment, income, health, education, crime, housing, and a local environment. So to finish with, I'm going to show you how this multifaceted engagement, this wholesale approach to bring in all faculties and students together to actually impact on each of those 7 different indices through 6 different projects. So we'll start with this really wonderful picture, Play-Doh project. It's actually not that squidgy stuff we all played with as a child. It was actually, it's a stocks and shares investment game. Where schools, primary schools, year 6 children are given £1,000 to invest in the stock market, a fictitious £1,000, I must say. They then track that over a period of 21 weeks, and with that they're being asked to work out and project their percentage loss and sort of gain. And with that they're using all the key skills that they need at key stage 2 level, so addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And what we're seeing is basically an intensive maths curriculum enhancement. And with that, as a result of this project, not only have 570 children take part, but I'd say over 515 of those have actually seen improvement on their SAT maths scores. And actually they have risen in all of the schools. Those scores have risen in all of the 11 schools that have taken part in the project. So we've improved the education and the education standards of the area through projects such as Play-Doh. Moving on to employment and income. In just 4 months of operation, the IT training project has seen 40 residents complete their basic European computing driving licence. As a result of these new skills and these qualifications, 9 residents have gone into full-time employment and remained in full-time employment. That's equally as important. So we've improved the income and employment of the area through those projects. It's worth saying that we're actually talking to you from the IT suite that's pictured there. And we constructed these IT suites to improve the level of access to computers and the community currently has. We through the census information, we found that the community itself only 40% had regular access to a computer. So that was something that we wanted to increase. And we partnered up with Hewlett Packard and not only train students to go out there and be community IT trainers, but actually give disused computers to community centres to work with our staff, our IT support teams to actually create these suites. So they're now being used 4 out of 7 days per week, which is massive, and we're getting through a large number of residents and training them on a number of different sort of courses and also different sort of ECDL social media programs. Through health, obviously, the diabetes projects have really helped impact on the sort of local area in terms of helping the health services get an idea, get to grips with the health problems facing the area. But also the artificial pancreas project that Ketan referred to, pictured there. As part of the project, specific types of diabetes used, the ones with the most rare form of diabetes, type 1, are offered a chance to come in and have heavily subsidised, actually no, saying tell a lie, free gym membership now, where they under the guarantee that they will feel better in just 4 weeks. So they're currently, Jones, working with about 40 different diabetics there who are getting free gym membership, who are coming on to campus to not only sort of help with the research, but actually really feel better about themselves and help manage their symptoms better. In terms of crime, in partnership with the Leicestershire Police and the Leicester Riders, local basketball team, the Shoot to the Future basketball project has seen over 100 12 to 21-year-olds take part in weekly sessions, and as a result, we've seen reported antisocial behaviour drop by 75% in the 3 days that the project operates. And we're looking to try and turn that into every day per week. Basically, that's run out of our de Montfort leisure centre at the moment, so we're trying to secure a programme where we can actually use the centre late at night for these basketball projects to really keep those who are identified as being the highest offence in terms of ASB actually off the streets and actually doing something more productive and getting qualifications. Through local environments, we've received grants from external companies and community council wards to help coordinate both students and community volunteers to revamp the parks and green spaces in the area. Further to this, with an external grant of around about £20,000, we were able to sort of pilot a hanging basket scheme and offer hanging baskets to homes across the area. Really, that's sort of meeting a number of different aims there. People having pride in the area, making it more sort of aesthetically pleasing. It's definitely not the most important area, but it's something that will contribute to making the area a better place as a whole. And lastly, through housing, our Institute of Energy and Sustainable Development, we've been working with E.ON through them, and we've now been able to agree with them to fund a feasibility study with 8 homes in the square mile area. The majority of the homes in the square mile area are pre-1900 sort of Victorian housing there, and they all require different levels of energy efficiency measures. And so if this is successful, we can justify that there are energy and through the feasibility study that homes will save energy through this project. And there's a number of different providers, E.ON, Centrica, the ones who own British Gas, are willing to fund up to £2 million worth of investment for square mile homes. So that hopefully gives you an idea of really how a focused Waverham institution can impact positively on a community in very much a visible way. And really I must stress that this is just the start of the journey and the start of the project that we're doing. And we want to make sure that we are here in 10, 15, 20 years' time and onwards. And to do that, we've had to make sure that we've put a sustainable platform in place to make that happen. And we believe that we've done that. We know that the projects can adapt to people's needs. We know that the projects will adapt to changing needs. And by securing buy-in from the academics and really the most regular resource that universities have is students, we know that we'll have a regular bank of interest, we'll enhance student experience through the projects, and there'll be regular buy-in from any executive board, any governing team that come into the university and maybe want to potentially look at doing their own sort of community engagement initiatives. So I'll leave you with the last slide, our contact details, and if the questions, do you want to ask a more sort of detailed question to us? I've got our details there, the square mile, email address, and also the Twitter account and our telephone number, and also the diabetes complementary alternative medicines team contact details. I really, really hope you found this useful today. Again, if you've got any questions, more detailed questions, you can be in contact with us. I'd like to thank you ever so much for listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. That was a brilliant webinar. I'm sure we'll all agree. Now is an opportunity for anyone to ask any questions. If you wanted to just write them in either in the chat box to everyone, or if you'd like to use your microphone, then feel free to say yes to me, and I will unmute you. Okay, I might just get the ball rolling. I'm sure this is a question that a few people are wondering, David, but how are you funded? How is the Square Mile project funded?
The Square Mile project is actually funded through a number of different sources. We are part of the Office of Strategic Partnerships, so we receive about 65% of our funding through forming local partnerships, working with communities, and that's really sort of our remit from an institutional perspective. We also have very much a widening participation agenda. The west of Leicester, in which the Square Mile community operates, is identified as an area where only 7% of children from this area will go into higher education. So as part of the project, part of the university's offer agreement, Office for Fair Access agreements, we're having to work more with primary schools. So our outreach team, instead of going out and creating their own separate primary school projects, they've come to us and said, we'll fund the primary school projects, we just need to open them up to a wider audience. So that way, we embed sort of a more, not so much sort of sharing the financial burden, if you will, but it's more embedding, it's just another way of embedding Square Mile into another department, and actually sort of making sure that we achieve the university objectives whilst enhancing you know, the opportunities available to the community. And I've seen one question down here, sorry, from Mohammed. Thanks ever so much for this question. The project seems to be focused on the social part of sustainability, but have you done anything on environmental sustainability in this project in the community? Well, actually, additionally, as well as the EON project, there's a foundry in the Square Mile, a Bonchurch Street foundry, where our IESD team have been working to reduce carbon emissions. The carbon emissions from this foundry were actually quite visible in people's homes. You could actually see the pollution in people's windows to the point where the residents were having to clean these windows, maintain on a regular basis. So our IESD team under Dr. Rick Greenlaw went in and really provided them with the intellectual sort of knowledge transfer, if you like, as to how they could best sort of reduce the carbon emissions there. And they've done so to the tune of about, they've helped reduce the emissions by about 45%, was the last figure I was given up to about 2 weeks ago. And you can actually see that, and the thing is, it's such a visible impact in people's homes, because you can now see the front of the houses are looking cleaner, people aren't having to maintain them regularly, and there's still a long way to go with that project again. But our IESD team are forming partnerships where they can within the community, and helping not just the sort of the big business, the foundries in the area, reduce their energy efficiency, adopt energy efficiency measures, but also the small to medium-sized enterprises. A group we're helping, Loros as well, they saw a large portion of their expenditure was going on the sort of energy costs. So IESD, in partnership with our students, went out working with Loros to enact sort of energy efficiency measures. It's sort of like a Switch It Up campaign that's sort of been quite popular around a lot of higher education institutions, adapting that to a small to medium-sized enterprise. So yeah, it's, and in terms of sort of like, it's something that we still want to build upon. We know that there are so many more opportunities in this sense, but really we are still very much in the process of mapping different sort of agencies, looking at their needs. We're only aware of needs by those that we sort of find through other agencies, or if agencies come to us. So we're not against working with other projects, businesses, agencies to try and help them with their sort of environmental sustainability agenda. But yeah, that's really sort of what we've been up to in a nutshell in that respect.
Perfect. Thank you, David. I'll just give this opportunity to anyone who has any other questions. You might not all be aware, but the Square Mile project are a double award-winning project from the Green Gown Awards 2012 in both the social responsibility category, and they are an international winner as well. So congratulations for that, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to the Green Gown Awards from 2013 that are coming up in November. Okay, I think we're all done here. Again, I'd like to say thank you, David, and thank you to your other speakers. And this recording will be available on the Sustainability Exchange later today.
Thank you very much.